My name is Christopher Jimenez West. I'm the history curator at the California African American Museum. The inspiration comes from a guy named Ben Hardy. For most of your viewers, they're going to know Easy Rider, the iconographic movie from 1969 with Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper. There's two motorcycles that are in that film, the Billy bike and the Captain America bike. And they really start what is a sort of modern motorcycle movement. The choppers. The man who designed those bikes was a guy named Ben Hardy, an African-American man. Hardy started off building and fabricating bikes in his driveway in South Central Los Angeles just after the war. And he does that because there's no African Americans who are actually being able to own or manage or work in mechanical shops that are owned by Harley Davidson. And so Hardy, if you're looking to change a carburetor, to get your brakes fixed, to adjust your bike, to change your bike, to make it a little bit different, to funk it out, to put the aesthetic that is the African American experience in the bicycle or the motorcycle, some of that was done collectively. So for organizations like the East Bay Dragons, the Star Riders, the Chosen Few, as organizations or clubs or motorcycle clubs, they would do that on their own. But then there would be that one person or collective that you would go to modify the motorcycle. And the preeminent person who did that in Los Angeles was a guy named Ben Hardy. Donald Otis Myers, who goes by the handle Snake, is from the Bay Area. And Myers talked about that when the innovations of African Americans were that they would actually pinstripe under the seat. And so the modification on the motorcycle was always the aesthetic and the look, and also the technological innovation. And so what you would see would be, for example, in the contemporary moment, the diamond cut, which is a diamond cut on the engine, which is something that's usually unique to African American motorcyclists. It's that look that we're always looking for. It's something that distinguishes us. If you're thinking about motorcycling, particularly for motorcycle clubs, there's somebody that's called the road captain. The road captain is critically important because that's the person that keeps the line together. That person has authority. Don't think of the motorcycle clubs as being an outlaw group. For a group, for example, like the Magnificent Seven, you would have medical doctors, mechanics, folk, good folk, but just folk. And the road captain everybody defers to, even the president of the organization on the road defers to the road captain. The road captain for the Magnificent Seven is a woman named Miss Showtime. Bessie Stringfield is the first African-American woman to ride all 48 states on her own before World War II. Now, this is Jim Crow. Jim Crow in the United States before World War II is one with African-Americans who are lynched, living in sharecropping conditions, and largely trying to escape to the north to move away from this horrific experience. And this woman is the first woman to ride all 48 states on a motorcycle. What was a revelation to me is the experience of African American women not as objects, but as riders, participants in African American motorcycling. That was the part that blew me away. This is not a subculture. This is about black folk who are technically proficient, pulling together and modifying motorcycles for their own enjoyment and consumption. And so part of it is that there's this industry of African Americans who are modifying motorcycles, not just for African Americans now, because now we're in a moment where it's about merit. And these folks have, over the years, developed a skill set that is something that you want to consume. And so this exhibit, if anything, is about helping our youth to understand that black folks have been a part of the aesthetic, the production, technological innovation of motorcycling going back to before the war. And if there's anything I hope that we've done with the installation and with the eye candy that are the motorcycles, is to give you a sense of not a contribution, but the central role that African Americans have played in it.